Hello, class of 2025. I'm Mrs. Kenny, one of the counselors at Heartland High School. And in this video, I will be going over everything you need to know as you prepare to schedule for your 9th grade year at Heartland High School. I'll also go over some of the hot topics and exciting things that incoming 9th graders like to know about the high school. So on that note, I will start by introducing you to our administrative team. So we have Mrs. Gregory as our principal, and then we have 3 assistant principals who are split by alphabet. Those are Mr. Reck, Mr. Urich, and Mrs. Aluya. And you can see here on the screen who has which section of the alphabet. Finally, Mr. Wheeler is the athletic director at the high school. I want to take some time to introduce you to the rest of the counseling department. We are also split by alphabet, and you will spend all 4 years with the same counselor, depending on your last name. So Mrs. Hansen has students with the last names A through DD. Mrs. Osterhout has DE through HT. Students with the last names starting with HU through MN have Mrs. Lusk. And those of you MO through SD have me, Mrs. Kenny. And then the end of the alphabet, SE through Z, are with Mrs. MP. We work with you on a variety of topics, from scheduling and post-secondary planning when it comes to career and college planning, but also social emotional support. So we're here for a variety of purposes for you. We also have Mrs. Shinjek in our office. Some of you might be familiar with her as she spends some of her time at the middle school running groups and doing different things like that. She's also at the high school, so that will be a familiar face for some of you. Okay, one of the big things about coming to high school is that there are required classes that you have to take in order to move toward earning your high school diploma according to the Michigan Merit Curriculum. We have a 7-hour day at Heartland High School, so you take 7 classes each semester. I'll talk some more about that as we go on, but a portion of that day will be made up with these required core classes. You do 4 years each of English and math, 3 years each of science and social studies, 2 full years of the same world language, half a year each of personal fitness and health, and then a full credit of visual, performing, and applied arts. The rest of your day is made up with elective classes. We have a whole variety of topics, and this is intended for you to not only have something in your day that you enjoy doing, whether that's a hobby or an interest of yours, but also to do some exploration to see what kinds of things you really like to do, what kinds of things you're really good at for life after high school. You can see on the screen different areas that we have electives offered in. This is a sheet that you do have a hard copy of in front of you. This is showing you which classes satisfy the visual, performing, applied arts area. You'll hear us refer to this as your VPA. Like I said, every student needs 1 credit of VPA in order to graduate. Most students end up satisfying their full credit of VPA without necessarily trying. As you can see, there are a lot of classes that satisfy this area, and you might end up getting it done in your first year just because you're in band or choir, for example. But by the time you get into 11th or 12th grade, if you haven't had your VPA done, then we get really serious about making sure you pick a class from this list. So this is really for your reference. You do not need to take 1 VPA each year. You just need 1 credit of VPA in your 4 years of high school total. So like I said, you might do that next year. You might wait until 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. Today we're starting the scheduling process. And so it's important that you get familiar with a few things that we're going to refer to a lot. The first one is the curriculum guide. In the curriculum guide, you'll find a lot of information about Heartland High School. This is a board-approved document that says these are the rules of the high school and different classes and things that we do up here. And so one thing that you'll find is an outline of those graduation requirements that I've reviewed, but more importantly, you're going to see course descriptions. At the end of this, I think I'll pop over to the website and show you where to access the curriculum guide. The instructions to do so are at the top of your blue course sheet, as far as going to the counseling website, clicking here, clicking there, and then accessing the curriculum guide. Every year we have students who end up in classes, that's a few weeks into the semester, and they say, you have to get me out of this class. It's not what I expected. I didn't know we were going to be doing X, Y, and Z, and I can't stay. But what you have to understand is that we don't make schedule changes once the semester starts. And especially if it's just because you hadn't read the course description and you were surprised by a certain aspect of the class. It's totally on you at this point to be accessing their curriculum guide, reading course descriptions, and seeing if a class is something that you'll really enjoy, because we don't make schedule changes once the semester begins. On that note, when you're filling out your course sheet, you need to be doing so with classes that interest you, that excite you, not what your friends are writing down or what a sibling has encouraged you to do, because they're not you. And so you need to be making sure that you're putting down classes that you'll be happy to take. Like I said, we have a 7-hour day. And so that means there are usually multiple sections of each class, both semesters. So let's say you really want Auto 1, for example, or you write it down because your friend wrote down Auto 1. Well, if there are 6 sections of Auto 1, 3 first semester and 3 second semester, your chances of getting into that same section with your friend aren't very good. So that's why it's important to be making sure you're writing down classes that you want to take. For some classes, you will see a P after the course title. That P indicates that there's a prerequisite. This means that there's a class you have to take before you can take the next class. So on your course sheet, for example, on the back side in the art department, you'll see Art 2. Next to Art 2, there's a P. That means there's a prerequisite. This one's kind of intuitive. You probably know you need to take Art 1 before you take Art 2. For other classes, though, the prerequisite might not be as obvious. And that's when you come back to the curriculum guide to see what that class is. And have you met the prerequisite? Yes, then you can take the class. If not, maybe you need to take the prerequisite first. At the bottom of your course sheet, you'll see an alternate section. It's so very important that you fill out 6 unique alternates. What this means is that if Auto, for example, is one of your first choice electives, but it fills up or it conflicts with another class that you need to take, we're going to pull your course sheet, look at your alternates, and try scheduling those instead. We only pull alternates when absolutely necessary, when the computer has run into an issue with scheduling the classes that you put in your top section. So your 6 alternates at the bottom of your sheet need to be unique, meaning they can't be the same classes that you've written up top, because that doesn't help us, especially because your counselors don't know you yet. And so if we get into a situation where you haven't written alternates, or the alternates are classes that you're not eligible to take, you're left forcing us to pick for you, which we don't want to do, especially since we don't know you yet. So make sure that you're really thoughtful in filling out your whole course sheet, including alternates. We do ask that you print clearly. Don't worry about the course sheet being perfectly neat. I have students come to me sometimes and they think they need a new one because it's so messy. As long as we can read what you've written, it's okay. But if you're erasing or writing things in the column, that's okay. But you should understand that once you turn in your blue course sheet, you don't get it back. We hang on to that for the rest of the year. And so if it's something that you want to remember, you might take a picture of it or scan it or something so that you can have a copy of it. In some cases, you'll need to get teacher recommendations by means of a signature. And so I'll talk about that in a second. Make sure that you do that before you turn in your course sheet. And then one of your last steps is going to be entering your course requests into Student Connect, which I will talk about again. You will notice at the top of your blue sheet, in the top right corner, you see your name, and underneath of that is your Student Connect password. At this time, make sure that you have your course sheet with your name on it. It's super important you don't lose this sheet since it does have your password on it. That's one obvious reason, but we do need to make sure that you hang on to the sheet and that you get it turned in by the deadline. But that password is up there for you in case you don't know it, so that you can log in and enter your course requests. Okay, so this is your course sheet. I'm going to kind of walk through filling it out from top to bottom, and then we'll move on from that part of it. So you have until Thursday, February 18th to finish filling out your course sheet and entering these requests into Student Connect. At the top there, you'll see 1 through 5. These are some things that we want you to make sure you consider before you move on, to make sure that you've done all the steps. So getting any necessary teacher signatures, loading your requests into Student Connect. It is important that you know you're only going to load this top section up here. You're not going to load your 6 alternates into Student Connect. Once you put those courses into Student Connect, the computer does the next step with trying to schedule. So if you've entered more than 7 credits, the computer will have an issue. And then PE and health, I'll talk about that when we get down to that section of the course sheet, but you are welcome to delay those classes in favor of choir, band, or world language, because it can be kind of hard to fit everything into 9th grade, especially if you're in one of those year-long courses. Reading course descriptions. I've told you again, this is how you can access the curriculum guide. And then your forms are due to your math teacher by February 18th. And so at that time, you need to have already entered these into Student Connect. Then you can turn your form into your math teacher. Okay, the top section has sort of been done for you. Science, social studies, and English in this top box. Every 9th grader takes biology, every 9th grader takes global studies, and every 9th grader takes English 9. These courses have been pre-entered for you. So when you go into Student Connect to enter your courses, you will already see 3 credits, okay? Notice that you've got Bio, A and B, Global Studies, A and B, and English, A and B. A is semester 1 and B is semester 2 for a full credit of science, social studies, and English. If you are interested in applying for Honors English 9, you will need to see your English teacher to get, well, actually, the application's on the website that I'll show you at the end of this presentation, but there is like a process to apply for that class and get approval. So I will walk you through that at the end. But again, that's an application process. You're not going to see Honors English 9 as one of your choices in Student Connect. Once we find out who's been accepted into Honors English 9, the counselors will go in and make those adjustments, pull you out of regular and put you into honors. But there is a deadline for this application. We can't make exceptions because what we do with your course requests is say, okay, this many 9th graders want regular English 9 and this many have asked for Honors English 9, and then we build sections to accommodate that. That's why in August we won't be able to flip you back and forth because the sections have been created based on your requests here in February. Okay, moving on to where you actually have some work to do. This is in math. You're going to speak with your current math teacher about your next math course. I do want to jump back, sorry, and talk about the sequences for all these classes. So for science, you're going to take biology in 9th grade, earth science in 10th grade, chemistry or physics in 11th grade. That's your sequence for your 3 credits of science. There is an opportunity to kind of accelerate in science once you get to 10th grade by doubling up on science classes, looking at honors, looking at AP, but that's the straightforward bio or science, chem or physics. For social studies, you will do global studies in 9th grade. You will take American history or honors American history in 10th grade. And then in 11th grade, you have to do government and econ. Those are semester classes each. So it's a semester of government, a semester of econ. There are a few ways to get that 11th grade social studies credit. You will get that whole spiel down the road. And then for English, you need 4 years of English. So that's English 9, 10, 11, and 12. We do have honors and AP options as we get into the English curriculum. Okay, so back to math. Your sequence is Algebra 1, and then Geometry or Honors Geometry, Algebra 2 or Honors Algebra 2, Trig, and then your 4th year of math is depending on your pathway and your math levels and all of that, what you hope to do after high school. If you are accelerated through math, obviously you're going to be maybe finishing these classes a year ahead of schedule, but we have a ton of math to get you through your senior year. You will talk to your math teacher. They will help you circle a course and sign off on their recommendation. Next to Honors Geometry and Honors Algebra 2 Trig, you can see this little T in the parentheses. That indicates that a teacher signature is absolutely required. I know a lot of teachers at Oak Creek and at the high school like to sign off on every single kid. So it's like, I'm signing off on regular geometry. That's my recommendation, even though it doesn't require a teacher signature. That's totally okay. But you must get a signature for approval for Honors Geometry or Honors Algebra 2 Trig. When you're filling out your course sheet, you should be circling the course title. So let's say I'm going to take Algebra 1. I circled the course title. And then I come over here and I circle 0.5.5 for 1A and 1B, just like we have demonstrated up here. So that's because at the bottom here, you're going to be adding up to 7. And so when you're circling, it helps you kind of keep track of where you are. Okay, next is world language. Pay attention when I talk about this. World language requirements are 2 years of the same language. Some of you may have started your first year this year in Spanish, German, or American Sign Language. We also have French as an option. You need to have 2 years of the same language according to the Michigan Merit Curriculum for your high school diploma. Now, we always get questions about, well, do I have to take more than 2, or do I have to take both years in high school because I really want to go to such and such a college? So there are some universities, some competitive colleges and universities who prefer to see not just that you've taken more than 1 or 2 years in high school, but that you've accessed the advanced curriculum available to you. So taking a language in 8th grade, for example, and then taking year 2 in 9th, that's fine. You are done with your graduation requirement. What these competitive schools like to see is that you did that in order to be able to take more of the language so that you could get deeper into the curriculum. It's totally okay if you're like, it's not my thing. I want to take Spanish 2 next year and be done, or whatever it is. That's fine. If you're looking at competitive colleges and universities down the road, which I know you might be like, whoa, that's really far away. It's just important that you replace your world language slot with some other core academic class to show that you're still having rigor in your curriculum. I know that's a kind of a complicated topic to consider and think about. We always get questions in this area. So feel free to reach out to your counselor if you do have questions about this. But as far as graduation requirements go, taking the first year of the language in 8th grade counts. And then you just need to take the second year in 9th grade and you can be done, or you can move on. Okay, some of you might just be starting your language next year. So you would be taking Spanish, French, German, or American Sign Language 1. Some of you might say, I'm not quite ready for that yet. That's okay. You can wait until 10th grade to take your language. We don't really recommend waiting much longer than starting in 10th grade, but it is okay if you want to delay that for 1 year. Now, we do have honors, French, German, and Spanish 1. If you want to be considered for the honors sections, we do ask that you get your English teacher to sign off on that. All of these languages obviously require English, reading, and writing skills as far as vocabulary and all of that goes. So if you're looking down the honors path of one of the languages, we ask for your English teacher's signature. Okay, now we're in the electives box where you'll see the first 2 classes are PE and health. These are graduation requirements. We don't recommend waiting to get them done, but there are a few ways to get your PE credit. I want to make sure that you're hearing me because we're going to have 1,000 questions about the different ways to get your PE credit. You can take the semester-long class, PE, Intro to Fitness. You can play 3 seasons of any Heartland High School sport. Okay, so starting next year in 9th grade, and all the way through 12th grade, it's 3 total seasons, not 3 seasons each year or anything like that. So you might play 1 sport in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade and be done. They can be different sports. It can be freshman, JV, varsity. As long as it's 3 seasons of any Heartland High School sport in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, then you have your PE requirement kind of satisfied or waived. It does have to be affiliated with Heartland High School. It can't be your club or your travel team. has to be affiliated with a high school. Those are the ways, sorry. You can also do band, and if you do band camp for 3 years, then PE is waived. So it's take the class, 3 seasons of any Heartland High School sport, or band plus band camp for 3 years. Those are the ways to get your PE graduation requirement satisfied. If you have questions, let us know. Health, on the other hand, is pretty straightforward. It's a semester-long class. We recommend taking it in 9th grade for a multitude of reasons. You're going to learn a lot of really important things in that class that we think are important to learn early on in high school to kind of help you cope and navigate through high school. But also, you just don't want to be an upperclassman in a class that has, 99% 9th graders in it. So we do recommend getting health out of the way in 9th grade if you have room for it, which most of you will. All right, so let's say that you have your 3 credits from the top: science, social studies, English. And then you have your 1 credit of math, we're at 4. Your 1 credit of world language, you're at 5. You're going to take PE and health, you're at 6. We need to get to 7 because you have a 7-hour day at the high school. That means you need 1 credit worth of elective. So we're going to look at the back sheet here in a second. If you aren't taking a language or you aren't taking PE, obviously your math is going to shake out a little bit differently, but your goal is 7 credits. It has to be 7 credits. It can't be anything but 7 credits, okay? So looking at the back of the sheet, this is where you'll see each of the classes available for 9th grade. So they're by department. So if you really like business or art, you can kind of hone in on that department and see what classes are available to you. And then the column next to that is the credit value column. So you'll see if it's a 1 credit class like marketing, or is it half a credit like building wealth. And so this will help you when you are here doing your math. So let's say you do select marketing. You would write the course number here, marketing on the line, and then you put 1 right here. So that you're going to keep doing this until you get to 7 credits. So again, this is the back of the course sheet that you'll be looking at. The bottom of the back of your sheet is for your use only. You don't have to fill this out. Some people like to map out their whole 4 years, which can make sense if you really know that you love a certain class, you want to make your way to Auto 3, or you want to make your way to AP Biology. It can be helpful to say, okay, in 12th grade, I know I want Auto 3, or I know I want AP Bio. So you could, write AP Bio in 12th grade, make sure you're taking what you need to take in 11th, 10th, and 9th to get there. Just an example, obviously this doesn't set anything in stone. So writing it down doesn't mean that you have to take it or that you will definitely get to take it. It's just kind of a plan for your use only. All right, back to the front of the course sheet. Once you have 7 credits and any necessary teacher signatures in this right-hand box, you enter those course requests into Student Connect. You're getting a few hard copies of things today. Your blue sheet, you're also getting the VPA handout, and then there's a handout with instructions for how to enter your courses into Student Connect. So make sure you're referring to that. It's super important that the final step is to click submit. We have students enter their course request sheets and then they close out, but if they haven't hit submit, nothing was saved. So make sure you do that. The bottom of your blue sheet are your alternates. So let's say you've written down marketing as a class in your electives up here. Maybe it fills up too quickly, or maybe it conflicts with another class that you're in. What we do is pull your course sheet and try to make your first alternate work. Hopefully it does. If it doesn't, we're going to go to number 2. It's important that you're writing 6 classes here that you have not written up here, because that doesn't help us. It's important that if the class you write here requires a teacher signature, that you get that in the right column. It's important that you're writing classes here that you're eligible to take. If you're looking at the curriculum guide and you see a class like material science and engineering, and you're like, that sounds awesome, I'm going to make that an alternate. That class is only for 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, so it doesn't help us. So make sure you're putting classes in this alternates box just from the back of the 9th grade course sheet. and that you're getting teacher signatures if necessary. The last part of your blue sheet is for you and a parent to sign off so that we know you guys have talked about this and that your parents approve of the classes you've selected. And then we do ask for your phone number so that if we run into an issue after school's out and we're working on schedules and we need to ask you a question, having your phone number is very helpful. So we ask you to put that there. I probably only have to call like 2 kids each June, but it's helpful to have that phone call. Okay, that's your course sheet. Your next steps are going to be to fill that out thoughtfully and carefully, and to be reading course descriptions and to be talking to your parents and thinking about the classes you want to take in high school, not necessarily to be talking with your friends about what they're taking or what they think sounds fun. Okay, I understand being really excited to come to high school with your friends, but just know that getting classes with them in a building of almost 2,000 is just, there's no way to guarantee that and or hope for it. Even if you write all the same classes on your course sheet, you could end up with no classes together. So I don't strategize that way, because then you'll find yourself not in classes with a friend and potentially not in classes that you don't like, or in classes you don't like. Okay, so like I said, you're going to enter your course request into the portal between now and the 18th. If you need access to a computer, talk to anybody at Oar Creek, but Mrs. McLennan can help you. If you are a student with special education services, you'll meet with your case coordinator. They'll help you as far as support classes go. And then blue course request sheets are due to your math teacher by Thursday, February 18th. And as is the Honors English 9 application. I want to hop back for a second to say, all right, under non-departmental, I just like to explain this class. When I mentioned support classes, it reminded me. We have a class called Tutorial A, which means semester 1, and Tutorial B, semester 2. You can take one without the other. This is a study hall, basically. Tutorial is an hour for you to get homework done, to study. Maybe you're a student who gets extra time on tests. So maybe you work on a math test in math class and then you need more time on it. You can do that in Tutorial. Tutorial is a class students can take as many times as they wish. So you might take Tutorial every year. You might take it a handful of times. It's up to you. We have a lot of students who take it because they struggle and they need help. We have a lot of students who take it because they have such a rigorous schedule that having that hour in their day is helpful. I also know a lot of athletes who will take Tutorial depending on when their season is. So if they're a fall sport, they might opt for Tutorial A because they know they're busy in the evenings with practice and games during first semester. Or if you play a spring sport, you might want Tutorial B. But you are welcome to take both of them or one of them or none of them. I just wanted to point out that is available to you should you want that, especially maybe you want to start 9th grade with that Tutorial class so that you can kind of like get your feet wet, figure out high school. It's going to be quite a transition. And so having that class in your schedule might be helpful. All right, I'm going to transition now to talking a little bit more about like the ins and the outs of the high school. So I do ask that, I know you have your blue sheets in front of you, if you could tuck them away or put your pencils down, make sure that you're looking up and paying attention to the rest of the presentation. That would be great. You're going to have lots of time to work on your course sheet. Okay, so research and all sorts of personal experiences show that getting involved in high school is important for a number of reasons. A lot of people get involved because they are hoping to apply to some really competitive schools down the road, and they know that they need a really solid resume in order to apply and get in. But more importantly than that, getting involved just keeps you busy, which is really good for you. So the busier students are, the less time they have to be making bad choices and getting in trouble. But the great thing is that we have a ton of options when it comes to clubs, activities, volunteering, which is oftentimes built into the clubs, and sports. We have sports that are no cut. So if you haven't done anything yet, but it interests you, we have those options available. But it's a good way to make like-minded friends, to have, activities to keep you busy after school. Students who don't have after school activities have quite a lot of free time in the afternoon and the evenings. And with that much free time, it doesn't feel as prudent to schedule your afternoon and make sure that I'm getting my homework done. Whereas if you have practice or games or a job or volunteering that you do, since you have this commitment in the evening, you also make it a point to schedule time to get your homework done and your studying done. So it's just helpful in that time management aspect. It kind of sounds counterintuitive to be the busier you are, the more things you get done, but we swear it's true. So these are all of the clubs at Heartland High School. We are hoping to be able to launch back into these next year. Obviously, things were kind of on a halt this year. We have, clubs for so many different populations. If you are really interested in something and it's not on this list, guess what? You can go through the process of trying to propose and start and get a club up and running. Most of these, I think maybe all of them, were student-led to start with. I know the leaders of these clubs are the students. They have staff advisors, but these are student-run clubs. So you'll have an opportunity to sort of learn about the clubs and test them out and see what interests you when school starts in the fall. I will point out Link Crew, which is one of the clubs over here on the right. That's something that you'll go through as far as your orientation goes. So you'll learn more about what Link is, and that's one that a lot of 11th and 12th graders get really excited about joining. These are the Heartland High School sports. So when I was talking about PE and taking or doing 3 seasons of a sport to satisfy your PE requirement instead of taking the class, these are the sports that count, okay? So 3 seasons of any sport. Again, you might do archery, baseball, and basketball all in 9th grade and be done. Or you might do archery in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade and be done, okay? So 3 seasons of any sport from this list. There are different activities at the high school. Some of these I'm sure you're familiar with, but we have different assemblies. We have Spirit Week. The big one is at homecoming, but we'll have Spirit Weeks throughout the year just to keep kind of morale high. School dances, plays, a play in the fall, a musical in the spring, sporting events. Even if you're not on the team, you might get a group of friends together to go and cheer on your classmates and your friends. And then volunteering work. There are so many different ways to get involved and to just really enjoy your high school experience outside of the classroom. All right, some of the big questions we get at the high school. So you have 6 minutes between class to get from class to class. It's plenty of time. Even if you are scheduled corner to corner in the building, 6 minutes is enough time as long as you're on a mission to get to class and not to socialize. Obviously, that's enough time to stop at the bathroom and all of that. There is a freshman hallway for lockers that you will be assigned in the fall, I think. I know this year we haven't done lockers yet, but I think we'll probably be back to that next year. And you can have your locker to put things in. But a lot of students carry their backpacks to and from class, which is totally acceptable. So it's up to you whether you use your locker or not, but all of you will be assigned a locker in one area. And then the hallway changes from year to year for where your locker is. We have 3 lunches that get scheduled in your day. So your lunch is based on your 5th hour. So you won't know this until the first day of school. I promise you, sometime in the summer, after schedules are released, there will be this rogue lunch schedule that floats around social media. It's probably not right. I can almost guarantee you it's the wrong lunch schedule because it doesn't become public knowledge until the first day of school. And so don't count on that. You will either have lunch before 5th hour, in the middle of 5th hour, or after 5th hour. So it's based on your 5th hour teacher. And again, you'll find that out when school begins, and there are a ton of variety options in the cafeteria for you to choose from. All right, this is a biggie. I want you to mark August 9th in your calendar. I want you to go home and tell your parents about August 9th. I want you to remember that August 9th is an important day to be at the high school. So LINK is your freshman orientation. We pair students into small groups. So 8 to 10 ninth graders are paired up or linked with 2 11th and or 12th graders as your LINK leaders. On that day, you do some like icebreakers and group building or skill building activities, and then you'll take a tour of the school. You're going to get your schedule on that day. You get your picture taken on this day. So come ready for your picture. And yeah, the different team building activities and orientation. So this is just so that on the first day of school, you feel familiar with the building, that you have upperclassmen who are familiar faces for you. On the first day of school, all of the LINK leaders will wear their LINK shirts, and you'll know, okay, that's a friendly upperclassman that I can go to say, hey, I don't know where to find this class, or ask them any questions. I can promise you that the LINK leaders are great people, so you can count on them. So we don't want you to miss LINK. It is an important day for incoming ninth graders. The first day of school is tentatively scheduled for August 18th. The calendar hasn't been totally voted on just yet, but you can count on it being on or around the 18th of August. Okay, I talked about your high school graduation requirements, your diploma. I've talked a little bit about post-secondary planning, but there are some things that are different in high school compared to all of your other years in school so far. So when you start your classes in ninth grade, these are classes that are going on what's called your transcript. Your transcript is a record of all the classes you've taken, the grades you've earned. Then it tracks the credits that you've earned and your GPA. So what does credits mean? You need to have 26 credits to graduate high school. And so each credit that you take, or each class that you take, is half a credit. So first semester, you've got 3.5 credits. Second semester, you've got 3.5 credits for a total of 7 credits a year. Like I said, you need 26 to graduate. And then your GPA is calculated based on your grades. So if you get an A in a class, that's a 4. If you get an A-, that's a 3.7. All of those are added up, averaged, and calculated into your cumulative grade point average. These are things that colleges will look at. Obviously, they're looking to see that you've taken the graduation requirements, that you earn your high school diploma. Some schools take into consideration the classes that you've taken, rigor versus, so taking honors and AP versus taking regular pathway. But all of our classes are considered college prep. So you don't have to take honors and AP to be prepared for college. But some schools will be looking at GPA. Some schools will be looking at your test scores. Your transcript includes all these things. Your transcript includes your GPA, the test scores from 11th grade that you take down the road, and it includes your attendance. That's another thing that's it's kind of relatively new, but your transcript has attendance on it. It shows how many days you should have been in school and how many days you were in school. That is something that colleges will be able to see. Okay, so tonight we're going to have incoming freshman parent night. This is obviously being done virtual and is posted onto the high school counseling website, which I'm going to show you in a second. We highly encourage your parents to watch this. You're welcome to watch it with them. It will go over a lot of the same information we touched on, but with a spin for information for your parents specifically. So please let them know that that's posted. We will be communicating that with them via email, but that's available for them. The parent night includes a video much like what you're watching right now, and then breakout sessions on each of these topics. So these are each individually recorded videos. Usually when we're here in the building, you guys can choose to go to different sessions and hear a live presentation, but these have been recorded so that your parents and you can watch different video presentations. This is how to get to that website through heartlandhighschool.us at the counseling page. I'm going to click you there in just a second. So when I click here, it takes me to the Heartland High School counseling website for the class of 2025. I want to just take you to where you start. So if you go heartlandhighschool.us and click counseling, this is where you'll find the counseling office broken down by alphabet. All of us can be reached via email. We are first and last name at heartlandschools.us. So for example, I'm Helen Kenny at heartlandschools.us. You can find that in the staff directory if you're having issues or you just want to double check, but that's available there. You can call the counseling office here and be directed directly to the counselor for your part of the alphabet. So this is a handy page. Then when I scroll up and I click scheduling, I want to show you a couple other things. This page has a lot of information for our current 9th, 10th, and 11th graders for scheduling for next year. And then course descriptions and curriculum guide. I have referred to the curriculum guide a handful of times. I want to point out how to access it. So this is where you click to open up the curriculum guide. I'm going to do that to show you. It is an 82-page document, so it's a doozy. At the beginning, you're going to have everything you could want to know about Heartland High School and the curriculum. But starting around page 30, is where you get into the different departments. So each department has a page with a grid followed by course descriptions for all of its classes. I'm going to scroll to, business is a good one. So these are the business courses, the credit value, the grade level that you is eligible to take the class, prerequisites. So I referenced if you have a P next to a class and you're like, oh, I need to know what the prerequisite is, this is where you come to find out. So I don't think there are any business classes for 9th grade that have a prerequisite, but this is where you would see like, okay, personal finance is recommended for building wealth, but it's not required. And then in the far right column, you'll see if it meets the requirement of something like your VPA, which is your visual performing applied arts. And then down here, course descriptions. And I can't emphasize to you enough how important it is that you read course descriptions, okay? So again, it's a big document. The departments are in here in alpha order. So human services, followed by language arts, so on and so forth. So that's the curriculum guide. Underneath the curriculum guide link are videos for many of the classes. These are created by the teachers of the classes, and in quite a few of them, students who are in the class make an appearance to tell you about it. So if you don't know what a class is about and you've read the course description and there's a video here to watch, we definitely recommend taking a look at that to learn about it. Lots of information here. Okay, finally, I want to take you to the left again to the class of 2025. This is a website built just for you guys with the information that you need for scheduling. So the presentations are going to be posted. This is kind of still a work in progress with the presentations, links to copies of the papers that you're going to get today, the breakout sessions. This is where you can find a lot of the answers to questions that you might have. This is really cool. This is a building tour that some of our students made. I definitely recommend watching this in its entirety. So this can be a way for you to see the building. So I'm going to take us back to the presentation. Like I said, if you have questions at this point, you should be talking to your current teachers for recommendations for placement for next year. And then you can reach out to your counselor at the high school to help with advising when it comes to course selection for next year. Use our website because it's got a ton of information on it to try to help steer you and guide you and answer your questions. And then turn your course sheets in by February 18th. And we will take it from there. If you, between now and the end of the school year, want to make a change to your course selection sheet, you can do that. We just don't allow changes once school is out. Okay, so if you write something on your course sheet and before the last day of school you want to change it, just send your counselor an email and we'll make that adjustment for you. But come August, when we give you your schedule, you are locked and loaded. You will not be able to make any changes if it's something that was on your course sheet. For those of you who are remote students watching this video, we have mailed home your course sheets, and you can access the VPA and the instructions directly on the 2025 website. But again, you're welcome to reach out to us as well too. We do ask that the hard copy of your course sheet is turned in to Ore Creek or brought to the high school. Either way will work. But we are not accepting like photos of your blue sheet or scanned copies of your blue sheets. We really need the hard copy of your blue sheets, either dropped off at one of the two buildings or mailed to one of the two buildings. We really appreciate you guys taking this really seriously and being really thoughtful, and we're so excited to have you guys at the high school next year. See you later.